the fact of the matter right here in Ira Jam 93.5 in New York. My name is Erwin Clare. We're simulcasting the Bridge 99 FM there in Jamaica. 99.1.3579. We say good evening to you and welcome to this section of our program when we turn it over to the man called Miguel Melbourne because we want to hear some conversations from him and see who is the interesting guest he has tonight. Good evening, Miguel.
Hello, Erwin. Ira, good evening to you. And of course, Ira, good evening to our distinguished listeners wherever in the world you're tuning in from. We thank you. My name is Miguel Anthony Melbourne. This week on Melbourne Motivation, my guest is a dear friend. He's one of my favorite young leaders. He's a native of Brooklyn. Brooklyn can be very proud of the things he's doing. His Caribbean roots spring from Jamaica. All Jamaicans, we can be very proud of this young man and everything that he's doing. Let me tell you some more. His name is Bryan Roberts. Bryan is a director of diversity partnerships in New York. He's focused on connecting job seekers and employers in an effort to diversify the workplace. Prior to his role, he was a nationally recognized advisor and financial services executive for 11 years, where he led a team of 36 people. Additionally, he having spent many years supporting his family's business, buying and selling properties in New York. He's both a real estate investor and a licensed agent. Bryan attended Binghamton University, where he excelled playing baseball and earning his bachelor's degree in economics. Currently, he is in North Carolina executive MBA student MBA program focusing on entrepreneurship and DEI leadership. Now, whether it's diversity, equity, and inclusion, or real estate, Bryan notes his passion is providing efficient solutions to the clients and communities that he serves. And so with that, Bryan, welcome to Melbourne Motivation. Welcome to Ira Jam and the Bridge. How are you feeling today?
Bro, how you doing? Miguel and everybody, thanks for having me on. It's really great to be on, especially with you as my good friend.
I'm telling you, I couldn't be more excited to for the diaspora to hear a little bit more about your story and some of the things you're doing. And Bryan, as long as I've known you, I love reading about some of the things that you've accomplished because one, it just makes me think of how proud your parents must be. And then two, it just signals to me that somewhere in your upbringing, you are made to believe you can accomplish anything you put your mind to. And so what I'd love for you to do, I want to start with your roots. Can you just give us some insight into how your parents and family have helped to shape the man of value that you are today?
Yeah. Where can I start? I mean, born and raised in Brooklyn. My mom's from Shorehampton, Mandeville, Jamaica. My dad's from the South. So education was huge. And it was, you had to come home with an A+. If you came with an A-, they'd question you on everything. So it just, it just forced me and my brothers to kind of continue to excel, right? We couldn't take any mediocrity. And so just put our head down in the books and try to do our best. We're very family oriented, so they definitely instilled that in us, and I see it through my older brother who lives in Los Angeles with his 2 girls and his wife and the beautiful things they're doing, and to see that my younger brother, right, who's doing his thing as well. And so we're just all focused. And I just want to say shout out to my family, mom, dad, love you, my brothers, to my nieces, love you all, and my cousins and friends. But yeah, it was I don't want to say it was a militant in a bad way, but it definitely gave us the values that family is very important, and I lived my life to that. Family is very huge for me, and legacy. So now that's how I've been carrying out my life.
Absolutely. It is the quintessential, if you have that Caribbean roots. I remember when I just moved to America, I got a 99. And I went home to mom. I said, look, I got a 99. It's the highest in the school. She looked at me. She said, Miguel, where's the other point? And so I'm with you.
It's like at a young age, you're like, wait,
what are you talking about?
Good,
I thought this is good. No, but Bryan, some of the things that you've accomplished, even your previous role as an advisor in financial services executive, you led a team of 36 people. You were in that industry for over a decade. Now, I imagine that type of leadership required you to make sacrifices, required you to step outside your comfort zone, and even require you to have an unwavering belief in yourself. And so can you just tell us a little bit, like, what was your personal road to becoming an executive? And just looking back at the experience, do you have a favorite or key takeaway from leading at such a high level?
Yeah, I would say sacrifices I made. Yeah, I made a lot of sacrifices, right? I mean, I think when I started my career, right out of college, I I did no, don't get me wrong. I did have a good time. I still went out, but I was probably one of the more focused 23, 24-year-olds come out of college, and because I just had a goal. And I did miss out on some trips. I did miss out on traveling here and there, but it allowed me to one learn a lot about myself, and it allowed me to get to the level that I been able to get to with the organization I was with and just build. Um, but I would say though one of the biggest takeaways I've got from that was I stepped out of my comfort zone and working with other cultures, right? Because I found the work that I did was providing impact and helping people with their financial solutions, either through retirement. Because as you know, in our community and the African American community and in other communities, finances is not something we talk about, right? And then let alone life insurance, right? And so it was just about educating people to make sure they put the right things in place to get those to protect their family and build on that legacy, right? I mean, the legacy part is huge for me. Um, but I also realized other cultures felt the same way, right? But I understood I didn't speak the same language, so I had to hire people and give out jobs. And I loved doing that, giving people opportunities that they thought were, they needed a master's degree or a bachelor's degree. But unfortunately, their family situation didn't allow them for that. So I gave them the opportunity to then now provide an impact and help others, with educational funds for their children, retirement solutions, investments, like, so that part, um, it was very, how should I say? It was pretty nerve-wracking because how do I connect with those people? But I found a way that, I'm just gonna be myself, and I think people are drawn to people who are authentic. And I just kind of ran with that.
It's you're touching on some great things. The first part being there is no escaping that hard work, right? And I know the role that you did, but I can just imagine being the age you were and oftentimes probably dealing with older folks and having to figure just that out alone, building like and trust. But as I said, I love what you pointed out, that it's the hard work. You're gonna have to make some sacrifices. So it's very easy for us to look and say, "Oh man, you've done a great job," but there's the work that you put in behind it. And so that's really the message that I really want people to pay attention to, especially
One,
my young folks out there.
yeah, one thing I will say on that is I remember my first time trying to talk to someone who's she was a bit older than me, right? Maybe in the 50s, 60s. And I just started my career. And this is the most humbling thing that I took from it, where I went to her and talked to her. I told her that I can help her with her retirement. She took a step back. She looked at me and she goes, "What can you tell me about retirement?" Right? So I probably had a very, very young baby face. And so I took that, and I could have done two things. I could have said, "All right, this career is not for me. I'm running away." Or I said, "No, I'm going to learn from this experience and I'm going to get better and better at it." Right? And learn how to handle those objections. And
Mm.
so, and I just went with that. Again, you're going to get objections, and no one's really going to tell me I can't do anything. I'll show you that I can make it happen.
That's it. That's it. I love it. And so, Brian, I want you to tell us, just put into scope the role that you have now as Director of Diversity Partnerships. Can you just put in the scope for our listeners? What is the big problem that exists, and how is the work you're doing, providing a sustainable solution to that problem?
Yeah, I think honestly the biggest issue we've seen this, since George Floyd passed away. Everyone and their mother, like companies, are now saying DEI is a huge focus of theirs. Some of the things that I've seen though is it's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to do it and have action behind it, right? And I think that is the biggest issue where, we have to support our diversity, equity, and inclusion professionals, right? Because they're under immense pressure trying to convince a CEO who's probably stuck in his or her ways, right, to help evolve the workforce. And so the work that I do is to do that, right, to make an impact. And that's why I shifted gears in my career It was scary at first, leaving my position after 11 and a half years, but it was necessary for me because it brings me much joy to do it. Diversity is more than just ethnicity. And I think that is something that I really want people to understand, because diversity encompasses LGBTQ, veteran status, gender, age, disability, right? And of course, ethnicity. And so, we need to develop not just plans to get companies to diversify the workforce, but have sustainable plans, right? Because I've seen a heightened level of after George Floyd, and I just think it's great, but I feel like companies are seen as a trend. So that's the problem that I see. Equity, equal opportunity for everybody, right? Everyone should have an equal opportunity to get promoted, right? To be developed, to grow their career. But here's the other thing. Yes, we can get the opportunity to do that. The company gives you it, but it's up to you now to take the next steps. Absolutely. Right. And I think that's the part we can't miss on. And then lastly is inclusion. Everyone's got to be included in the conversations, right? Everyone's got to have an environment that they feel comfortable in. And so the work that I do is, I work with companies, tell them about some of the things that I do. My firm is minority-owned business, and we're a staffing firm, in the hopes that they understand that I and my company is very serious and help diversify the workforce. But I had this conversation last week. Diversity is important, and I want all the business owners to know that there are quality people who are of other ethnicities and other diversity, right?
Yeah. Bryan, I love the work that you're doing, and I really want folks to get it right, because it is so easy for us to see all the companies use these words, diversity, diversity, diversity. But the question remains, is it a trend, or are they actually doing something about it? And so to know that we have a person like you who is essentially holding them accountable and ensuring that those opportunities exist, it's powerful. And I want our listeners to be encouraged. I want our youngsters listening that have big dreams, and especially those wanting to make a change, know that there are folks who are creating those pathways. So remain confident and go for it. So Bryan, I do want to thank you for taking the time to come and just let us know about what you're doing, right? And to encourage our diaspora. How can folks reach out to you? How can they connect? If they have questions, they want to learn more, how might they be able to reach you?
Best way to reach me is through my LinkedIn. I am very open, I'm authentic, and I want to help as many people as I possibly can with some advice. I do a lot of work with nonprofits, SCIP leaders, SCIP leaders is great. So I'm open to sharing all that, right? And also I was open to sharing some of the stuff that I do with my family. And I think that for anyone that's an entrepreneur, we have a real estate investment firm that is bi-coastal. And that's an amazing joy of mine, right? Working with my family. So LinkedIn, Bryan, Bryan Roberts, not the I. It's okay.
No, I appreciate that, Bryan. We're going to leave it right there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please continue the work that you are doing. The truth is, we don't often see faces that look like yours at the upper echelon, right, of these different businesses. So it's very encouraging and super inspirational. So we'll definitely talk again. Erwin.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Bryan Roberts. And thank you very much, Miguel. Share with us how we can stay in contact with you, Miguel.
Absolutely. As I wrap up, of course, lots of birthdays in my family. I do want to wish Johnny P a happy birthday. My Uncle Musa Reagan, happy birthday. Ladies and gentlemen, my personal and professional goals are to help the youth be best prepared for college so that we can have more Bryan Roberts out there. Please visit pathwaytopurposenyc.com. Use the code IRIE, I-R-I-E, for a discount when purchasing our college study flashcards. Follow Melbourne Motivation on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You'll be able to watch this interview plus more. Until next time, please be safe and live with big energy. Erwin, catch you again next week.
All the best, Mel.